Welcome to the third episode of me watching wrestling like a TV show. This Saturday night's main event number 2. The first one was a good show. It was all around decent, better than the first WrestleMania, and it was a good show. Let's see how this stacks up to it. So jumping straight into it, we have some pre-match hype, pre-card hype pretty much, and we get hype for the WWF title match. It's Nikolai Volkov versus Hulk Hogan. And Nikolai Volkov is talking before the show. He says, I'll take the belt back to Russia. And he says he'll take the belt back to Russia and nuke the US. And then Hogan's talking, and he's going to defend the red, white, and blue for you. And the center portion of the show was going towards an actual wedding between Uncle Elmer and his wife. And they're talking about how Uncle Elmer is on a mission of love. And Roddy Piper comes in and says the only mission he would be on is being the launching pad, which is a crazy thing to say. The nice 80s intro plays, and we have Hulk Hogan versus Nikolai Volkov. And pre-match, Hogan says, I'm defending the U.S. I'm defending the red, white, and blue, and I'm defending the red, white, and blue, and he drew the line at Volkov singing the national anthem constantly. So he goes down to the ring after Volkov sings. So Volkov attacks before the bell, before Hogan can even rip his shirt off, and he has much of the advantage throughout the early portion of the match. He's striking on him, and then Hogan attempts to slam Hogan's head into the turnbuckle, but when he does, Hogan catches himself and then slams Volkov into that turnbuckle, and he's able to hit his clothesline and elbow combo for 2. He's able to boot Volkov to the outside, and he's out there. He attempts to battering ram his head into the turnbuckle post, but instead Hogan gets sent into it, and Volkov gets him in the ring. He's hitting some of his offense. He picks Hogan up. This is a 300-pound man, by the way. Picks Hogan up, hits him with a military press, and slams him down in a backbreaker. It wasn't the prettiest military press backbreaker you've ever seen, but that is also a 300-pound roided out man. How? And then he goes into his offense. He attempts a pile driver, it looks like, but Hogan's able to hit a back body drop out of it. But his back is hurt, and he can't do any more moves, so Volkov keeps hitting him, and he hits a body slam, but Hogan has to hulk up, brother. Hogan hits his punches. He runs him into the corner. He hits the leg for the win. And after the match, Hogan says, if you didn't get that message, I'll explain it slower to you next time, baby doll. And then he's just hyping up the wedding after that. I won't be talking much about the wedding, only because it's an actual wedding, and I have respect for that, and I'm not going to give that a grade. But for the other matches, I'm giving it a grade out of 10. So this match is a 5 out of 10. It's mid. It's an average Hulk Hogan match. It's a 5 out of 10. So this next match is 6 seconds. It's Elmer versus Jerry Valiant. Uncle Elmer versus Jerry Valiant, who's getting married later in the show. Uncle Elmer goes out to the ring. He hits a slam, and then he gets on Jerry Valiant's shoulders and wins. 4 out of 10. Now we have an interesting thing. Instead of Piper's Pit, because Piper actually has a match against Paul Orndorff on the show, we get The Body Shop, which is Jesse the Body Ventura's talk show. He has Bobby Heenan on, so we get some heel villainous banter. Woo. And this is talking about the Paul Orndorff bounty, which was originally set to $25,000, but Heenan is increasing it to $50,000 because Orndorff fired him, and he wants some revenge to run him out of the WWF. So he has a $50,000 bounty on Orndorff's head. And he sounds very angry and irate when talking about Orndorff, because clearly he doesn't like that man. He's saying he's dumb, he's slow, he's stupid. And then he says if he had any brains, he should throw his trunks in, throw his boots in, and just straight up retire. And Bobby Heenan is an artiste on the mic. He's pretty good at making a good heel promo that isn't just scream at the mic because I'm a bad guy and I'm angry. He's actually talking and saying something with meaning. So it's a really good segment, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. So up next, we have match of the night. It's Paul Orndorff versus Roddy Piper. Paul Orndorff pre-match angrily says, "Any man who wears a dress don't got the guts to beat me. Oh, Bobby Heenan, he's trash. There ain't no one gonna win that $50,000. And then Piper comes in and says he came for the $50,000, and if Heenan doesn't give it to him, he'll rip his throat out and he'll go to his grandma to get that money. He's a money-driven man. The $1 Million Man will be very happy to buy him out." He just talks some like trash about Orndorff. Says, "I don't need to wear that much baby oil. I don't need to tell you how tough I am to know how tough I am." And then he goes out to the ring. And this match, they have some heated animosity towards each other, obviously from WrestleMania and the last Saturday night's main event, because, they obviously had their big blow up there. And this match is entirely a brawl. This is not a wrestling match. This could be closer to a street fight. They are going at it. It's punches and punches. Orndorff hits some punches. Piper hits a clothesline, and they're going at it. Piper hits a DDT. They go to the outside with Piper still having the advantage until Paul Orndorff bounces his head off the table, throws him in the ring, hits a diving elbow and a back suplex. We get a headlock Irish whip, and they both go down, and they get back up. Piper immediately gets the advantage off the get-up, though, because he's able to get up first, and he hits a splash off the top rope, keeping that advantage for him. But this splash would actually go wrong because Orndorff gets his knees up, and then Piper's all groggy and stuff by the ropes, and Orndorff hits a crossbody over the top rope, and they both get counted out, but they brawl to the locker room. They're still throwing punches. They go under the commentators. They are going at it still until Orndorff ends up getting locked out of the locker room because Piper escaped from him. So this match, while it ended in a double countout, and yes, as much of a lame ending that is, it's still my match of the night because of just sheer quality. It's just, they're going at it. It's a brawl. I have no complaints. It looks like how you would think a brawl would look like. It was good. 7.6 out of 10. Up next is the wedding, and this, I'm not going to give it a grade out of respect. The only thing of note here is Piper objects. It obviously in storyline, but other than that, it's an actual wedding. Piper only just spewed some insults and got kicked out. So it's whatever. It's just an actual wedding. I'm not gonna be, oh my god, it's a wedding. Like, no, it's whatever. We have King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd versus Andre the Giant and Tony Atlas. Andre can finally move up the compass now. Yeah, I'll explain what the compass is in a second. But yeah, before the match, Big John Studd, Bobby Heenan, and King Kong Bundy are talking, and Big John Studd says, "I cut your hair. You're only the number 3 giant behind me and Bundy." And Heenan says, "Tonight, a 500-pound turkey is going down." And then we go out, and Andre has the advantage immediately. It's not even close. He's choking King Kong Bundy with his own strap. Then he tags in Atlas, and, the Bigs can get a better advantage against him, but Atlas is still fighting. Bundy tries to hit an elbow, but he does not hit it at all, and Atlas hits a big jumping headbutt, and Studd gets tagged in because Bundy chickened out. Studd just plain overpowers Atlas, and then he goes eventually into the opponent's corner for some reason, and Andre hits Studd with a headbutt, and that doesn't really affect Studd, but what does affect Atlas is when King Kong Bundy comes in and hits him with the splash. That's most definitely illegal. Why are we allowing this? But eventually, Andre is able to get back in the ring, and he overpowers both Giants. Both Giants try to attack him, ending in a DQ and a win for the faces, but that's not it, because Hogan comes down to make the save, and this sets up Saturday Night's Main Event 3, where it's Hogan and Andre against the Heenan family, King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd. There's a quick little Hogan interview, and he just says they had them from the beginning. They were going to win that match. I had to save them. Whatever. And this was a fine match. Nothing to rave about. I'm a little bummed it ended a DQ, and a little bummed at how short it was. It wasn't even making it past 5 minutes. Like, we're dedicating way too much time to this actual wedding. Like, we don't need to dedicate that much time on wrestling TV to a wedding. But you'll notice this wedding brings down the show grade a lot. But it's a 4.3 out of 10. I wish it just had more time to kind of flesh itself out. Up next, we have Jungle Mean Gene trying to find George Steele. And he finds him. They go around looking at animals. It's weird. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's just weird. I don't like it. It's a 3 out of 10. Up next is the Dream Team, which is Bruce Beefcake and Greg Valentine, managed by Johnny Valiant, against Leaping Lanny Poffo and Tony Garea. Before the match, the Dream Team says they can take on anybody except the British Bulldogs for some reason, because they declined their match. Whatever. They go out. It's just to get the champs over. There was no chance a randomly thrown together team would win the titles until, the WWF had the balls to start doing crazy stuff. So it's a 5 out of 10. And then the wedding reception happens. I'm not going to talk about that again. Actual wedding. Tiny Tim appears though, so I guess that's cool. And he was also one of the last people to be in a actual TV wedding. So cool. But unfortunately, I'd like to say that's all for this show. This show was very meh. That wedding dragged it down a lot because it gave less time to Greg Valentine and Bruce Beefcake, who could definitely had a good match with Lanny Poffo and Tony Garea. And it gave less time to Andre, one of your biggest stars, and I just didn't like that inclusion. It weighed down the show, honestly. This show for me is about a 4.3 out of 10. That wedding it's a little below average. Like, that's it. But now it's time for the extra nerdy stuff. What I love near and dear to my heart. We have this compass right here. The closer you are to 10-10, the better of a wrestler you are. The higher up you go, the better you are at actual wrestling. The farther right you go, the better you are at talking on the mic. And this compass, it's starting to flesh itself out. We get most of the main event scene closer to here. The tag team division is going up there. And you obviously got your Pipers and your Orndorffs up there. They've been doing really good recently. They're on a hot streak. And that's how this whole thing works. I only put big matches on here to prevent squash matches because there were a lot in the 80s to weigh things down. And like when I get to like Braun Strowman's introductory run where he's facing James Ellsworth, I'm not going to count those matches against his actual cumulative average. Like, I'm not going to do that. It's that simple. But you got your tag team division up there, plus like your IC title division closer up, but not necessarily as far right. The main event scene is pretty well rounded, except for Hogan. I hate that guy. You get that top quadrant is Piper, Orndorff, Orton, those better wrestling and can actually talk people. So then we get into my college football AP top 25 poll, which looks like that. And we got my top 5 Orndorff and Piper maintain their spots at the top. Hogan maintains his spot because realistically, no one really had a standout show except for the people who were already up there. So I feel like that's makes sense. You notice Greg Valentine and Bruce Beefcake move up. Heenan moves back into the top 5, which is really nice. But other than that, no crazy shifts this week. There's nothing to really change there other than, the people that know how to talk and the people that know how to wrestle and the people that can do both. But they don't really change. They just sit at the top because that's why they're good. That's it. This show was very boring. I mean, that's all I can say. Saturday Night's Main Event 1 felt a lot more grand than this. There's no Cindy. There's no T. There's nothing. Like, where's my celebrities that actually care about this sport? Not Tiny Tim. Like, where are they? Cindy's gone, by the way. I know that. Mr. T will be here next WrestleMania, but that's a while ahead. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the Rainmaker on that bell, and I will see you guys for episode 4 of Watching Wrestling Like a TV Show, which is Saturday Night's Main Event number 3. Peace.